somebody trying to steal your phone. Hey Hans, how you doing?
All right.
What's your full name?
Hans William Breitweiser.
Nice to meet you, brother. You from El Paso?
I grew up here, but I was born in Pennsylvania.
Tell me about how you ended up in El Paso.
I was, like I said, I was born in Pennsylvania, September 3rd, 85. About 6 months after that, we moved to Jacksonville, Florida, and my sister was born. And when I was about 2 years old, my parents split up. My mom, sister, and I moved here because my mom's mom, lives here. And went to Irvin for the child development program for pre-kindergarten. Went to Collins for kindergarten, Bradley for first grade, Crosby for second and half a third, the rest of third, fourth, and fifth at Nixon, and H.E. Charles for sixth grade. Was in Boy Scouts for a short time before moving out to Florida to live with my dad because I butted heads with my stepdad.
Tell me about the butting heads with your stepdad.
His dad was military. He was a high-ranking officer, and he didn't communicate well. He basically treated me how his dad, or I imagine how his dad treated him. He wasn't a hugger, tell you he loved you or anything, or this is what you did wrong and why. It's just you're in trouble, and I said so.
You flew out to Florida.
So yeah, I went to live with my dad in Port St. Lucie. I went to school in Fort Pierce, in Northport. Was there for a year, and then my dad and his wife at the time built a house in Jewington Creek Plantation in Jacksonville, Florida. And after spending the summer with my mom, we moved up. I went back to live with my dad and went to Switzerland Point Middle for 8th grade. The first year Bartram Trail High School opened for 9th grade, which was nice because we didn't have books for the first semester, so it was pretty easy. And then as well as visiting my mom that summer, my dad split up with his wife at the time, and he'd gotten a townhome further inside Jacksonville. And so when I went back, went to Mandarin High for 2 years. I was in Naval ROTC for 2 years, where I was in rifle team and drill team, Aguleted for rifle team. I had planned on, I couldn't really set my eyes on either Air Force or Navy. I wanted to take off and land on aircraft carriers, but I really loved the airplanes, the jets, and the Air Force, the F-16. So I hadn't really made up my mind yet. But I took the ASVAB. That's my goal, was to join the military. And but because I was also in JV football for a year and varsity wrestling. And then because my dad was away quite a bit for work, he wasn't able to spend a lot of time with me, so he had me move back here to live with my mom for my senior year, where I graduated where I started from, Irvin.
You said football. What position were you playing in football?
At Mandarin, we only played one side, so I was defense. I played cornerback and safety.
Nice. And you got that build, that safety build.
Yeah. And then so moved back here and played varsity football for Irvin, and these guys grew up playing football together from Pee Wee football all the way up, and I had a year of football under my belt. I didn't know the terminology or anything, and so thinking that I wasn't going to get much playing time, I went with the position that I thought I would, considering there was so many receivers and cornerbacks, and we had to play both sides. I chose defensive end and right tackle. So But I ended up lettering the guy. I was the fastest lineman out there. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Rudy, but that was basically me. I mean, I was fourth string, but you hit me, I got back up. I mean, I was the best tackling dummy out there, and all the guys wanted me to be their sparring partners because I was the best one to train against. Because you could knock me down, but I'm going to get back up every time.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. I mean, I can see the toughness. I think I saw you choking some guy out here in the lobby not too long ago.
I don't know what you're talking about. That must have been somebody else.
No, but yeah. So you lettered with your varsity team. Did you graduate from Irving?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, what year did you graduate?
2004.
Nice. And well, tell me what happened after graduation around that time.
I got to say that we were the last class to go to the playoffs. But after that, I did not want to come here. I associated everything with Texas and El Paso with my stepdad. So that was the last thing I wanted to do was come back here. So my dad made an agreement with me that if I graduated with a 3.0 or higher, that he'd come back out here and get me and take me back to Florida. And he followed through with that. After we graduated, we have project celebrations. We go to, the senior class goes to Western Playland. And right after that, the day after that, we drove back to Florida. And I used my graduation money to buy my first car. It's an 88 Camaro.
Oh, that's a nice ride.
Yeah. I love that car. Spent a little over $2,000 keeping it together, but it was worth it. I got a job at Publix. Well, he lived in Port St. Lucie still at the time. So, he lived in Palm Bay, Melbourne at the time. So wanting to go back to Jacksonville, because that's where my friends were, I did everything I could to get a job up there, and I did. I got an interview at Publix. So the day after I bought my car, mind you, it was a stick shift, and I had never driven a stick shift before. So I was wearing my nice khakis and my dress shirt, and I didn't even make it. I got on the highway and didn't even make it to the next exit, and my hood latch gave out and the hood popped up, cracked the windshield, blocked me from seeing. I swerved into the median, which had 3-foot high grass, and had to get my brand new nice interview clothes dirty to get out and put the hood down. Then I couldn't go more than 10 miles an hour to the next exit, otherwise the hood would pop back up. And so I had to drive. I managed to finally find a mechanic shop that would let me use their tools and their dumpster to take it off and throw it away, and drove all the way up to Jacksonville, 2.5 hours north with no hood. Made it to my interview 30 minutes early, and then it rained, but I got the job. So, so I ended up moving up there. And
what's Publix? What was that?
Publix it's like Food King, but top 5 supermarket in the nation.
Oh, nice.
They'd put it this way, after every day, they'd pick 3 aisles and they'd walk down them. And if one item was just a little bit crooked, you had to go do the whole store again. I mean, they pride themselves on cleanliness, customer service. There's a reason why they're top 5 in the nation. So, yeah,
How long were you at Publix for?
I was only there. I wasn't there that long. About 4 or 5 months, because I had gotten my job back at Domino's, where I'd worked my sophomore and junior year prior to moving back to El Paso. And then while doing that, I was delivering pizzas, and then got a job at Napa Auto Parts delivering auto parts. And I was approached by a friend of mine's dad who was a manager at Kenworth, the body shop for Kenworth, the trucking company. And he offered me a job, said, it's a good trade to have, doing body work. You can go anywhere doing it, make a lot of money. Not even working at Napa a month, put in my 2 weeks notice. And I worked at Kenworth for almost a year before I got the job at Best Buy. But I learned a lot. I learned how to weld using acetylene torch, drive a semi-truck, a forklift, both the large and small forklifts, prepare Bondo, paint. You name it. At a body shop, I learned how to do it.
Sounds like it was a good experience.
It was. The manager, however, the guy that hired me, was just he was difficult to work with. And they actually went under about 3 months after I put my 2 weeks notice in. The other 5 guys that worked there all quit at the same time. So I got the job at Best Buy in car audio, and about 3 months after that, I got in my car accident. The brake booster went out. I had the brake booster to replace it in my trunk that I gotten from the junkyard, which in an 88 Camaro is a coupe. The trunk is basically just a hole in the back, and it's connected to the rest of the car. So we, my friend Corey, Stan, and Kim, were going to Taco Bell, and we decided to go the long way, and they wanted Hans to go the long way because he liked to go fast and drift. And we were going down Jonesy Creek Road, and it wasn't even that sharp of a turn, but I just touched on the brakes to slow down a little bit, and the front tires locked up, and I tried to turn, but tires were locked up. I didn't do anything. I downshifted to try and slow down. But on the side of the road, there was a little stream. So there was a little divot, and that popped up the back of the car before we hit the tree, which caused the 40, 50-pound brake booster to pop up in the air. Everybody had their seatbelt on except Kim. She took hers off, and so that popped her up also. And when we hit the tree, the brake booster came flying forward, and instead of hitting either me or the back of my seat, it hit her in the back of the head, and put her in a halo for about 3.5 months.
Damn. What's a brake booster?
The brake booster is a large, normally black device behind the master cylinder that controls the brake fluid and allows you to have power brakes.
So she survived that hit in the back of the head?
Yeah. She fractured like 3 or 4 vertebrae in her neck, and she was 19 at the time, getting ready to get her GED, and it put her back to like a 9th grade reading and math level. Her dad was actually on his way from her room to my room at the hospital to kill me. And she woke up from her coma right when he was leaving, and told him what I had done for her. She was with, before her and I got together, she was with a very abusive boyfriend. And when he was gone one night, I had her get her stuff and let her come live with me. And she told him that. And so instead of coming to kill me, he came and thanked me. Which was
what a turnaround.
Very weird, yeah. The Stan was sitting next to her because they were fooling around. This was after her and I went out. We were broken up. He had seatbelt rash and fractured the little bone in his, I want to say his right arm. Corey was sitting in the passenger seat in front of him, and he had a broken blood vessel in his eye and some seatbelt rash. That was it. Transmission came through the firewall, landed on my feet, shattered both my ankles. I had a Grant GT racing steering wheel, stainless steel, about 2 inches thick, and my face had put a dent in it to where it was in the dashboard, basically. I lost a bunch of teeth, fractured the ones that didn't fall out, broken nose, concussion, TBI, fractured upper palate in 3 places.
Were you in the hospital for some time?
3.5 months. Yeah.
3.5 months in the hospital.
I was in the hospital for 2 weeks and TCU for 3 months. I had to learn how to walk again because my muscles atrophied. I mean, I had leg muscle. I never had upper body, but I had leg muscles, and it was just skin and bone. By the time I had to start physical therapy, so
how old were you when this happened?
I was 19.
19 years old.
I was about to turn 20. Yeah. They had taken a picture of my face, and you couldn't recognize me. It was so swollen. Even a month later, I overheard the doctors talking when I was still in the hallway, laying on the gurney, about amputating both my legs. Or both my feet. They were gonna amputate both my feet, but it was University of Florida, and they decided to do an experimental reconstructive surgery on both my face and my ankles. And so I have titanium all throughout my face, my eye socket, my mouth, nose, and I have a double helix in my right ankle, 2 long pins with 12 pins connecting them, and then 2 long pins in my left ankle. So that was, I mean, I should be alive, much less walking. And people as well as myself had always said, oh, somebody up there loves me, but I didn't really believe that, I guess, in my heart for at least 3 or 4 years until after that.
I mean, that sounds like a very traumatic experience. How did that impact your life?
I was forced to mature very quickly because of that. I mean, when you hear people complain about pain, and you hear adults talk about how they can feel weather coming, that's no joke. I can feel a storm coming 3 days away, and it hurts. That's no joke. People talk about pain. They think they know pain. They have no idea what pain is.
So you were in ICU for 3 months. How long after that did it take for you to get back to before the accident?
I never did. I always walked with a limp. I couldn't go into the military anymore because I'd have to pass a physical. And with the metal in me, I wouldn't be able to do that. With the restrictions, having to run a mile in so much time, wouldn't be able to.
So going to the military was one of your dreams?
I wanted to be a pilot, yeah. I wanted to fly jets. I wanted to land and take off aircraft carriers. And I was pretty dead set on Navy just for that reason. I mean, Top Gun was that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be Maverick,
Maverick,
just with the brain,
Was it Maverick and Iceman?
Yeah.
Was it Iceman or what was it?
Goose.
And Goose.
Yeah.
Goose is the one that died.
That was Val Kilmer was Iceman, yeah.
Yeah, Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
Oh, so after the accident, you go through some physical therapy.
Yeah.
Tell me about that time.
I didn't have a physical therapist or anybody to help me or walk me through anything. I had to do it all by myself. I had to get up and want to do it, and stairs were the hardest. That was tough. I mean, you think about just walking up one step, it's like just one step, man. That was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And then all my belongings, because of where I was staying at the time, I thought I had good friends. I was actually staying with some ex-bandmates. The first band I was ever in back in high school, the 2 guys that let me stay. They had a 3-bedroom in the same apartment complex that my dad and I had moved into and got divorced. But what they didn't steal from me, they threw away, including my opa's German oak handmade screen. Like, you know those screens that women would dress behind in movies?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah. This
Yeah,
thing
super
needed
cool.
2 people to lift it.
Damn.
They threw it away. Like, the thing was priceless. It was from Germany.
Yeah.
My PlayStation, I mean, all my belongings gone. So I had nowhere to go. My mom and stepdad allowed me to come back and live with them. And I got a job at Johnny Carino's. It just opened around the same time Carmike did, the Carmike movie theater. And I really wanted to work at the movie theater. I wanted to be a projectionist. But I mean, you take what you get, you know, what you can get. And so I was a server. And not even 2 weeks later, I got the call for Carmike. Had to start a concession though. Well, you got to start somewhere. So, but Johnny Carino's, that changed my life more than I realized. I met a woman there named Sarah, and she'd invited me to come to this home church that she went to. And the majority of the friends that I would have for the most of my life from then on, I met at that home church.
Oh wow.
In fact, one of my fiancés I met there. Yeah, I step back and really look at it. Her future fiance, Sarah's future fiance, I would later call brother.
Wow.
And he eventually moved in with me when I was living at this house on Mercury. It's a 2-acre lot. These kids had broken in, 11 kids had broken in and did almost $15,000 worth of damage because the owner had passed away a year prior. And he'd built the place from scratch. It was really awesome. I mean, just, you could feel the hominess in it. And there was a lot of memories there. I mean, these kids were just godless children. They graffitied the walls. They destroyed the car outside. 75 Baldwin piano. They destroyed the keys, cut up the back. I mean,
What year was this? And where was this at?
This was here in El Paso, here in the Northeast, and it was about 2015 or so.
Yeah.
Not
too long ago.
Not too long ago. Yeah, because I had lived there for about a year and a half, and I'd actually moved out and then moved back into the house. And like I said, I let my brother move in with me. He was having some trouble, and so we were able to help each other. And he was a big guy. He's 6'7", and I mean, walking down the street with him, it was better than like walking down the street with a pit bull, man. Like, nobody messed with you. Like, it's like you have my chest out, like, start something, say something, man. Sick 'em, Joe. But and he was always one of those type of people that was, I'm gonna eat a bullet or I'm gonna jump in front of a truck. And like, few people were honest with a guy that big, and he didn't scare me. He's a teddy bear, like, prove it, dude. Oh, I'd never do that. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna keep you honest. And
where's your brother now?
He at the time he had a psycho girlfriend with a baby on the way, and she had threatened to withhold the child after an argument that they got into. And because of some things that he did, he went and did something really stupid and broke into a You know what? I'd made some paddles to play beer paddle Krugen. I don't know if you've ever seen Beer Fest, beer pong, like the traditional beer pong.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I'm gonna go get us some beers when I get off. Just hang tight, you know. We'll play some beer pong. You know, we'll smoke a couple bowls. It's gonna be all right, bro.
You said bowls of marijuana?
Yeah, I mean, it was. We had Pookie. It was his bong. It was a triple blown bong. It was a nice piece. Anyway, so I got off and I got us each a couple of Steel Reserves. Ironically, both of our drinks of choice, which nobody really likes. 8.1% alcohol.
What's the name of the beer?
Steel Reserve.
Oh yeah.
The 211. It's either that or Hurricane, but Hurricane's a high gravity. Steel Reserve's a high gravity lager, whereas Hurricane is a malt liquor.
Oh, yeah.
That's bad for you. You know? Each one of those. Little did I know, he had already consumed like 3 or 4 211s before I got home. And he finished the 2 that I got him. So I think altogether he had like 7 211s plus the Kamado. And he could hold his liquor, but I mean, that's a lot for anybody. And it didn't matter what I did or said the entire day and night. I could not raise his spirits. He was just a bummer. And it got to me. So around 11, like we went back to my room after playing beer pong. I'm like, dude, let's smoke a bowl. Like, you need to chill out. And he had gotten into an argument with his mom, and she went and turned off his phone, and things like that every now and then. It was no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal.
But yeah.
I'll stop it because it's at 30, but we're back on.
Okay. He about 3 months prior to this had bought a 9mm, a Sig Sauer, and you know, we'd take turns taking it apart, put it back together so he could do it faster. And the dude would always whoop my butt. Like, I don't know how he did it. I got pretty close to beating him. So we were in my room, and like I said, his mom turned off his phone, and he came back and, fuck this, man, I'm gonna go eat a bullet. And I snapped. I was like, fine, do it, but go outside so I don't gotta clean it up. But I said it with a lot more volume and a lot more anger. And he's like, man, I'm going to sleep. I said, good, man, get some. And I was pissed because I thought he fired off a round in anger. I'm like, you son of a Joe. And he didn't say anything. And I'm laying in my bed. I'm like, I get up out of bed. Joe. Fucking with me, man. Still nothing. I get to his door. I'm like, Joe. Nothing. I did not want to open that door. I turned the knob and I opened it. I could smell the gunpowder immediately. I saw the blood on the wall, the fish tank. He was in an office that he had turned into a bedroom. It's really the only thing that fit in there was his queen-size bed and his nightstand with his fish tank. And gun next to him, he was dead. And I ran and got my phone. I called 911, and the lady asked me all the questions, and she got to the, well, are you sure he's dead? I'm like, what part of he's dead? He shot himself in the head. What part of that are you not getting? I didn't say that, but I'm an optimist. You know, what if I don't and I can or could have? So she's like, sir, I need you to go check. I don't need to go back in there. I know what I saw. But what if? So I went and I just did one of these. And he wasn't dead. Most people think when you shoot yourself in the head that it's quick and it's painless and you're gone. He shot himself in the temple. He should have been, right? That's what happened in the movies. I had never seen that man so scared in my life. His eyes were wide open and he was bubbling blood out of his mouth. The fan, you want me on your side because I can get things done. Just didn't make sense in my head. He shot himself in the head. He should not be alive right now. And I can do surgery on myself, animals. I can do first aid. I know how to get things done. He shot himself in the head. Only in the movies can you fix that. I lost it. What do I do? He said, sir, you need to calm down. You need to take a deep breath. Don't tell me to calm down. He just shouted, sir, take a deep breath. You need to clear his mouth and start chest compressions. So before I even opened the door, it crossed my mind that he might have done that. And I was afraid that if he did, he'd fire off a shot like up on him. And now I'm afraid he's going to bite my finger off from nerves twitching. And I clear out his mouth. And I put it on the speakerphone. She starts counting off. And every now and then he'd like come awake and like he was coherent. I talked to him, Joe, stay with me, man. And then he'd fall out. I'm like, no, come on, man, stay with me, bro. And she's like, I'd locked the door. So I was like, the door's locked. And she's like, you need to unlock the door. So I ran, unlocked the front door, ran back, jumped back on him. And yeah, 2 cops showed up about 15 minutes later. But after the fact, it kind of pissed me off. What the hell are they going to do? You know? I'd checked his pulse 3 times before EMS showed up, and he had a pulse. He was warm. And EMS showed up about 5 minutes after the cops, and they pulled me off of him. And I checked his pulse, like as they were pulling me off of him, and he was cold. He was dead. This was about 11:30. It was on the 17th. But because the coroner didn't make it out there till like 3:30 in the morning, he didn't get pronounced dead until the 18th. 2 days before 420, son of a bitch. We had a whole thing. Excuse my filth. That was one of the most life-changing, life-teaching experiences in my life that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, but it made me who I am. Probably more than from my car accident, you know.
What year did your brother pass away by suicide?
I honestly can't. I can't remember the exact year. I want to say 15 or 17 or
So just
It was about 6 or 7 years ago.
And my condolences,
Yeah.
Hans. Wow, that's the most traumatizing thing I've heard so far. Wow.
Yeah. But something I learned being in the military. Just blood, a mist of blood.
A mist of blood.
Your best friend. Like, yeah, I think that's got me there.
Well, let me ask you this. So after
I knew Jesus forgave me, but I still couldn't. And people are like, Jesus forgives you. Why can't you? Like, do you know what it's like? I told my brother to go kill himself, and he did it. You forgive yourself. Oh, wait, it didn't happen to you. So, yeah, you could say it all you want. And that would piss me off. Like, who the hell are you? You have no idea. You can sit here and say you're blue in the face. You know how you would react how you'd feel if your mom died right now. You have no idea. If it hasn't happened yet, you have no clue how you're going to feel. You know how you want to react when something happens. You don't know. I'd always, because like I said, he was somebody that would say, I'm going to eat a bullet or I'm going to jump in front of a truck a lot. To the point where I would try and picture how I'd react and what I'd do if he did actually do that. You don't know. You have no clue. You cannot, there's no way to put yourself in that position. But because of that, like I said, I learned a lot. I can give you a silver lining to any circumstance. Any circumstance, there's something good in it. Just like there's no such thing as coincidence. Everything happens for a reason. And because of that, there is good in everything. Everything. I don't care how bad it seems. How is there good in your brother blowing his brains out? Because I got through it. Now, being in a military town, or wherever I go, I can mentor people that will or have gone through something similar. I got through it.
I mean, I really appreciate you sharing that. Thank you for being vulnerable. Because, yeah, I mean, I think that's the silver lining, right?
That's one of them.
Got through it, so.
That is actually one of the most beneficial and healing tools to any traumatic event. There is a woman that lives on the street with us who will remain nameless, but she went through something so traumatic that involves her kids passing away that she still talks to them like they're sitting next to her. She cannot talk about it, and she won't. But if she did, she'd start to heal. Talking about it is the most healing thing. And for me, it started that night. The cop took me back to Julie's house, his mom's house, where everybody started coming over. And a friend of ours, Ian, God rest his soul, who is not with us anymore, he started complaining about something very minuscule. I said, come here. I took him outside. So I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you a story. And I told him in detail what I just went through. Every little detail. I said, now, if you go into that house and you complain about one more thing in front of that woman, you're going to have to deal with me. But the point is you think you got it bad? You think you're in pain? You think you're hurting right now because of whatever? No. Like he had no problem saying no. In fact, he straight up told me that he's sorry and he feels better knowing that. And that was the start of my journey, if you would, of telling people what happened. And as painful as it was in the beginning, watching people's reactions and seeing how it was, I can tell you something that's gonna mess you up and help you at the same time. And also, we're gonna be better friends at the end of it. That's a powerful story. It sucks that it happened, but there is more than one silver lining to it. And because of that, I can give you a silver lining in everything.
Yeah, to get through.
Like I said, your attitude determines your outcome every time. Whatever you're going through, whatever you're gonna go through. I had to go spend 18 hours in jail from a bunch of traffic warrants. I was not looking forward to it. But if I went in there with a crappy attitude, it was gonna suck. The kids, and I mean, they called me Yoda at one point. But I ended up having a good time. The food sucked, but I mean, you're just sitting there waiting. It's cold, but I had a good time because of my attitude. How many people go to jail and say they had a good time? I know I never thought I would, but I learned so much. And I'm still learning things today just from that event.
Yeah. Yeah, that got to be an event that you just is never gonna. You can never heal from that. Do you think you can heal from that, or?
I eventually forgave myself.
Oh, good to hear.
That was tough. And it wasn't just one day I was like, I forgive me. It just kind of, I was okay with it.
What was your brother's name?
Joseph Wetzel.
Man, may you rest in peace. That's, wow.
Thank you.
That's a profound story.
Yeah.
Let's man, not to like change subjects, nothing, but like,
Yeah.
well, so right now in El Paso, you're living on the streets.
Yeah.
What led to this new part of your life? Because from what I'm hearing, you going to work like
A lot of jobs, yeah.
What's going on? What happened today?
A series of unfortunate events. But
Sounds like a movie.
yeah, right. The only way I can describe it is like I was really upset when it
First time it's ever happened to you.
unintentionally, yeah. I mean, I when I was a kid, I threatened to run away, but I never made it a block. You know, couldn't pack enough snacks in my backpack. Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, you don't ever tell a drill sergeant that they're wrong or imply that they're wrong. And they are never wrong, regardless if they're wrong or not. They are not wrong. They are very difficult to something about him that he got a bad rap also. He was dealing with the landlord kind of persecuting him in a way and accusing him of destroying a water main above the ground, of running it over. And dude doesn't have any legs or a car. And even if he did, he doesn't have any legs to drive the car. So it was just a whole thing. So I ended up testifying on his behalf because it eventually went to court.
Well,
And
thanks. I'm glad you did that.
yeah, so he eventually let me move in with him to be his live-in caregiver. And VA took forever to process things, so I actually never got paid for any of the time that I spent helping him, but which he resented because he never saw any dollar signs from that, even though I cooked, cleaned, and when I say cleaned, I mean everything. At one point, I spent about 5 months calling, trying to find a suitable location for him to move to, because he didn't want to live in this trailer park anymore, which was completely understandable, especially after the landlord doing what she did. And I'd finally found a place that was perfect, and it's like he went out of his way to find. Telling people, unbeknownst to me, that I would abuse him physically and verbally, and that I would pick him up out of his wheelchair and throw him. His neighbors also were two people that I helped. They were sisters, and one of which but they weren't ants, they were roaches. And I would go in there, I'm like, you need to get out. Like, I'd go, she's like, I have nowhere to go. I'm like, your sister lives right there. She's got an extra room. I'm sure she wouldn't mind you staying there for a couple weeks while we bug bomb the crap out of this place. Well, where am I going to put my animals? I will help take care of them. We will work it out. One thing leads to another with the gentleman I was taking care of, and I can no longer live there because I had ended up leaving one night and I got jumped from behind and knocked out because of what he was saying behind my back and that I was harassing him. APS ended up getting called. They came out and did a formal investigation and interviewed both of us, and he admitted to lying.
Wow.
So I don't know if that's public record or not, but I've been wanting to get the report so I can show people. He's full of crap.
Yeah.
And you guys that beat the crap out of me kind of owe me an apology, among other things. So anyway, the lady that I pretty much got rid of 95% of the roaches, but she had gotten mad about somebody had broke into her trailer when I wasn't there, broke a. She started telling people that I locked her out of her trailer. I'm like, what is going on? Like, too many things that are out of my control are happening, and it's kind of forcing me into a corner, and I got nowhere to go. And it kind of feels like I'm about to head to the road leads to like jail or worse. So it was like one day I had a couch to sleep on. The next day I didn't have anything to sleep on. And
So from one day to
Yeah.
the next,
Yeah.
just like that.
Because she had called the cops, and I knew that if I talked to the cops, it was her word against mine, and it was like she was senile, and her sister was going to have her back. And then if you add Floyd into it, like, I'm going to jail, and I didn't even do anything. I'm not going to jail. I ended up having to force myself to go to the hospital. Like, I almost lost my leg. Yeah, that was.
So that's what happened. What the reason why you're living on the streets of El Paso?
In a nutshell, yeah. I don't know what Pookie is, but oh yeah, his bong. I'm like, Pookie? Oh yeah, that was a long time ago. No, and the cops took that one too. They left the bigger one, and they took that one. Lame. Anyway, no, I smoked weed from 19 until not long after my brother's suicide, and it was like every day I had until I stopped. It was, I'm smoking weed until the day I die. Like, you're not gonna get me to stop smoking weed. Every job I got, I went to the interview high. I mean, you couldn't tell if I was high or not because I acted the same high and sober. I made sure of it. You know, I made sure if I was sober, I acted high, so you didn't know. But I was always smoking Reggie. I was functional. Then when I moved back here, there was no such thing as Reggie. It's only chronic. This, hydroponics, genetically altered stuff. It's like, you can't function on this stuff, man. Like, so I was like, it'd be a good thing to, smoke at the end of the day, but I don't want to. I want to smoke all the time. That's what I do. I smoke, and it's like the cigarettes and my old fixation. I want to smoke while I'm drinking, or smoke while I'm driving, or smoke while I'm cooking, or smoke before, during, and after taking a crap, or, when I wake up, before I go to sleep, But you can't do that with this stuff because I can't function on the weed that they have nowadays. So, needing to be responsible, I stopped smoking weed. However, in the process of smoking weed, the guy that I would buy from every now and then would throw me a couple hydrocodones here and there. And because I have all four of my wisdom teeth are impacted, and I deal with a lot of pain from my ankles and my back here and there. Well, my wisdom teeth were really flaring up. Something, man, can you make a call? Like, I need something. It's like, well, no, I don't have anything, but if it's that bad, snort this line right here. And it was blue powder. I didn't give a damn. Like, all right, give me a straw. And that was when I started doing blues. Although I thought it was just an oxycodone, because that's what he told me. And I didn't know till like 2.5 years later of snorting blues for 2.5 years that there was fentanyl in it.
Is it the M30 pills? Or
yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Wow, 2 years snorting. You just snort them, smoke them off the foil?
No, just snorted them.
Just crushed
So
the
for 3.5 years, I snorted them. Yeah. And then I met the friend that I had said and told you about. Him and I were homeless at the same time, and when I met him, he smoked them. And I just tried it, you know. That's when I started smoking them. And then...
So, you started smoking them.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel, and what's for the pain? And...
Well, I very much like the taste when I snort them, because you know you get the drip, and it hits you not instantly, but I mean within a couple. And it lasts a little longer too, but when you smoke it, it hits you almost instantly. It hits you harder, but it doesn't last as long. So you kind of gotta, you know, well, I want it to hit me. I don't care so much as how soon it hits me, because it already. We'll call him my buddy.
Yeah.
My buddy. When I met my buddy, my homeless buddy, he introduced me to being able to get them at a very cheap price, and laughed at the price that I was getting them at.
What's the difference on prices?
I was paying $30 a pill, man. All right? Yeah, I said it. Because he was getting them at $5 or less. I'm like, wait, what? Huh?
Damn,
excuse me?
That's a huge difference.
3 years? I don't even want to do the math. Do you know how many pills I could have bought? I could have bought 4 cars and 3 houses. Oh my God. Well, yeah, that was in the past. So, and if you mean to tell me if I buy enough, I can get them at $1? Did you know in Arizona right now they're 50 cents a piece?
No way.
Yeah.
This is fentanyl, right?
Yeah. I'm like, why am I doing what I'm doing?
You felt like you overdosed.
I have never overdosed.
Never overdosed.
Yeah.
Never used. No one's used Narcan on you.
Nope. And a year ago, I'd actually been to Libiane twice, the methadone clinic, and gotten off of it. And the last time I was off of it, I was taking care of Floyd's house. He went in to have surgery, and I had my longboard then, and was skateboarding down Beaumont Road where the old Beaumont is, and there's a dip there.